Hey guys, today's video is going to be all about the NYX Cosmetics Highlight and Contour Pro Palette. I've been testing it out for the last few weeks and I quite made up my mind on it, so I decided it was about time I did this review. At first, the palette was priced at $30, which is not cheap. They did lower it down to $25, so there's more of a difference between, for example, the Anastasia Contour Kit, which is $40. So there's a $15 difference, which can make a huge difference on your budget. Overall, the palette is good. I wouldn't say it's my all-time favorite. It wouldn't be my first choice to recommend to people or even myself to use, just because the colors are really pigmented and not necessarily the most blendable ones, which can be really hard to use if you have really fair skin. Again, if you're a beginner, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that one. First, I would probably tell you to get like separate colors, like for example, just find a good bronzer that works for you. Contour shade, you can always use the NYX Taupe Blush that I absolutely love. So it would be easier for you to just get a few staple products alone than getting the palette. But if you have more light, medium, deep skin tones, or if you're a makeup artist and you know what you're doing, you know how to blend colors perfectly, and you don't have any issues, you don't have dry skin, for example, I would say this palette would work to suit very different skin tones, which I think is better than a lot of different ones. So if we take a look at the palette, there's 8 beautiful shades. There's 2.7 grams of product. If you compare it to the Anastasia one, they have 3 grams. You get 4 highlight shades. The first one over here is extremely frosty, like really white base frost. Personally, I'm wearing it right now in my inner corners, and that's basically the only place I would use it, just because unless I'm extremely fair and really want to look like really frosty, I wouldn't use that one. So if you have deeper skin tone, this could wash you out too. You could always use it as an eyeshadow, and it's the same for all of these. The second shade is actually my favorite one from the whole palette, just because it is the most natural glow from within highlight I've ever tried. I absolutely love using it, especially on my nose, because sometimes like really shimmery highlight can be a little bit much on my nose, but this one looks beautiful if you like using really natural looking highlight. I'm also using it actually on my cheekbones today. If I went into sunlight, you would just not see any shimmer, any glitter. It's just glowy. It's absolutely beautiful. So if that's something you like, just with that shade, the palette is worth it for me. I just absolutely love this shade, and if they ever make it in like a separate product, I would buy it non-stop for sure. The third one is a yellow base color, which I use to set my under eye concealer. It's fine, it's nothing like crazy, but it does the trick. And the last one would look absolutely stunning on like tan and deeper skin tone. It's just a beautiful highlight. Again, nothing extremely shimmery or frosty. It's just a beautiful glow. There's a little bit of a sheen to it, but not really. Like, it's really natural looking. The bronzer, the first one is extremely orange base, so I would never contour with this shade. Like, no matter what your skin tone is, I would recommend using this as a bronzer. That's what I'm using today. Again, I have to be so careful with the bronzers because, well, again, if you have light skin tones, none of these are necessarily the best for you. You can make them work. I've been doing it. I just tap my brush in there and then tap a lot on the cap, because otherwise it's just so pigmented and they're not the most easiest to blend. So I just apply a little bit at a time and just build them up, and that's what I'm using. Like I said, it does the job, not the best one. Next one is a little bit more cool tone. It would work better on tan skin. I haven't been using it much, sometimes an eyeshadow, but that's about it. The third one is my favorite one. Contour, as you can see, is the lightest one. It's also the one that is the most cool tone. It would suit, again, I would say light to really tan skin. You can get away with that one. Absolutely love it. But again, if you have really fair skin, you have to barely tap your brush in there. Just try to remove pretty much everything that's on the brush and then use it. Otherwise, it gets really intense really quickly. That's what I'm using today. I feel like it looks a little bit more intense in the viewfinder. In real life, it just looks like, yeah, contour, but it's not like bam, you know. The last one is a deep cool tone brown, which for once I feel like one of these palettes include deeper skin tones. So if you have deep skin tone, this one would work beautifully on you. So overall, it is a good palette. It's not horrible, but it's not the easiest to work with, especially if you have fair skin tones or if you have dry skin. They can be a little bit patchy. They're not easy to blend out. So for those people, I would recommend buying separate shades, not necessarily the palette. So if you're a makeup artist or you're just trying to build your kit, this is a great palette because it will suit a lot of skin tones. And if you're not a beginner, it won't be an issue to blend them out, but that's about it. Yeah, it's good, just not the best one. So overall, I have the palette. It is good. I will use it, but I wouldn't necessarily repurchase it if I ever finished it. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review and the swatches. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you purchased it, how you feel about it. Do you regret buying it? Do you really love it? Let me know. I want to know what other people think, because I'm kind of still on the fence about it. Like, I don't mind it, but I don't. Don't forget to subscribe if it's not already done, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.